It's the Fat Piggy Cow with your main host, Christian McCoy. Just a conversation. And today we are going to talk about the world's most important question. I say that very pompously, like I got the answer, right? But just hear me out. But I am willing to debate that in an open court of law. My cousin Vinny. Test me if you want to. Anyway, getting sidetracked. The most important question in the world is, what if? There's a million different questions, a million different things you can ask yourself. But as a human, there's no question that gives you a greater delving into the deep side of what you can conceive of, how you think, and what you really want. All boils down to being able to conceptualize the future. So ask yourself that simple question, what if? So you can start off on the brighter side of what if. What if you did 100 push-ups a day? What would the outcome be like? What if you ran 2 miles a day? What if you read 3 books a month about business and finance? What if? What if? There's a million what ifs, and no question gives you a greater sense of figuring yourself out than what if. You know, just thinking about things that you could do that'll enhance your life, like what we just mentioned, a few of them, right? What if you finish your college degree? What if you said hello to that pretty young girl? What if? And what if carries its significance even into the abstract realm. We can ask ourselves, what if this was a simulation, right? What line of thinking would you adopt if you went down the road logically of trying to conceive of this being not even real? Like, if we aren't God's gift to the universe like we want to believe, what if that significance was stripped? What type of person do you think you would become, right? So I believe even if we're some experimental petri dish form of life that came about in some alien science experiment class, to me, nothing changed, because the game is still the same. The game of life, trying to create and to become something greater than you were yesterday. Very powerful what if question, very hypothetical, but it can start to change the way you think. You know, ask yourself questions like, what if we met some alien civilization, right? Think about how we react. Like, we can improve in a way that's not even necessitated by reality if we ask the simple question of what if. And what if can also take on a darker shade of questioning, which also can be very developmental spiritually and even realistically in real life. Let's not even get too crazy. Like, ask yourself, what if I knew I was gonna die tomorrow, right? What if you knew that? Ask yourself that and think about what you do today. You've heard that before, but nobody really puts it into a self-building context. Like, how do I actually grow from these hypotheticals? Like, so if you knew you were gonna die tomorrow, you'd probably make contact with people you love, right? Definitely let them know that you care about them. You would probably seek out some extreme adventure, because we're always living in a box. And that what if just instantly opens up your perspective, that one simple question. And ask yourself also, like, what if my mother or father died today? How would you behave towards them differently right now versus if you just have that taken for granted expectation that the sun will come up tomorrow? What if the sun didn't come up tomorrow, right? What would we do if we knew the sun would die in 20 years, right? We would probably try to collect as much energy as we could and develop technologies to store it so that we can possibly move to another galaxy. I don't know. But that's the point. Is these are abstract hypotheticals that you can actually begin to grow from if you really let yourself fall into that space of what if. There's many other hypothetical questions you could pose yourself to try to elicit some philosophical depth of logic. And I believe that there's nothing more profound than the question of what if, because you can also ask why not, right? But why has many reasons. The answer to the question why can be broad, and that broad stroke gives you really nothing useful except just more information. That's one of the main things that law enforcement questions about a case that they're investigating is why. What was the reason? Like, why did this happen? And why this person? That leads investigators down the path of coming up with some finite discovery about like some crime that happened. But that doesn't change them on an individual spiritual level. I mean, that gives them tools to do their job, but we're talking about the most profound question in the world, not the most profound question to law enforcement or any one particular group of professionals. I'm basically saying that I really support that what if is probably the most powerful question you can ask yourself to help create a spark in you mentally to change some way that you don't like, or change something that you don't like about yourself. What if, right, you stayed on a fitness regimen for 3 months? What would you look like? What if you stayed dedicated to that business idea? You can possibly turn into Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, worth $150 billion. I think all of these great men ask themselves that what if question. Jeff Bezos specifically, he worked for Wall Street as a technologist at some money managing firm. But, he had that self-doubt when he said, what if I lose out on creating something huge by just toiling away in a decent paying job? Don't get me wrong, he was making a decent wage, but getting paid and making a decent amount of money isn't all fulfilling for man, for the human psyche. That fulfillment comes from exploring those what ifs. What if you let that true love pass you by? You don't want to live a life full of regret. In fact, Jeff Bezos mentioned that. He said, instead of trying to maximize the amount of money you make in your lifetime, your main concern should be minimizing regrets. And I believe that very adage supports the what if mentality, because you don't want to be left with what ifs on the table. You want to scoop up as many what ifs as you can in this life. Scoop them up and try them out. And even if, right, what if we're in a petri dish, just some experimental unfolding of random life? So what? What if? What if you still took what is clearly the gift of the mind and created your future from that point forward? It wouldn't matter if this was God watching us from the heavens or if it was an alien watching us in a petri dish. The game remains the same: to evolve and to grow and to scoop up these what ifs and leave no regrets on the table. Live profoundly on a daily, investigating through these what if questions what you really care about. Investigating through these questions, who is this spirit that inhabits this human form? So what if? What if you ate that 6-pack of Snickers? Or what if you ate that head of cabbage with brown rice and you followed the fitness regimen and you got yourself to a level you couldn't have without that conception? You wouldn't even be able to be in that Lamborghini without the questioning yourself first. What if I did this? What if I did that? We ask ourselves all the time for things that we don't want to face consequences for. What if I rob a bank? Oh, that's about 15, 20 years of freedom gone. Yeah, we leave those on the table. But scoop up as many of those what ifs as you can, whether or not it is something you're afraid of or not, or whether or not it's something you just always thought that you'd be interested in. What if? I suggest we leave no what ifs on the table. Obviously, the what ifs that'll land you in jail, we know better than that. We leave them on the table. Those aren't even on the table. Those are in the dirt. Don't pick those up out of the dirt. But yeah, until next time, my fat Piggy Cow listeners, fans, and co-creators. I get some ideas from you guys too. Don't forget to comment on anything you think that would be an interesting topic to go ahead and have a conversation about. So until then, Fat Piggy Cow signing out. Peace out.